In this video, I'm going to take you through the steps of adding a test to the Exam Xoom database. When you add a test to the Exam Xoom database, it's going to immediately become available for the world to see. So please be as accurate and thorough as possible. Here's an example of what the test will look like when we add it to the system. Now, in order to add a test, we're going to need to be logged into the system. So if you haven't already signed up or logged in, go ahead and do that now, please. Once you're logged in, you'll end up at the dashboard. And from the dashboard, you can select the Test tab, and you can click Add a Test. The instructions for this procedure are also available here for download. Before we add the test, though, we want to check and make sure the test is not already in the system. So we can go to the Search tab, and we're going to be adding Great Toe extension today. So let's type in toe and see what we come up with. So right now it looks like just toe walks. The other thing we can do is go back and do a search in the description to see if toe comes up in the description, to see if there's anything there. So we have a couple options here that have toe. Let's see if any have the extension in there as well. So we've got some things here, but not our specific test. So it looks like we're okay to add the test. So we're going to go back to the dashboard, and we're going to click on the Test tab, and now we can click Add a Test. First thing we're going to do is add the test name. In this case, I've chosen Great Toe or Hallux Extension Muscle Testing. Okay. Because this test is performed on both sides, we're going to click Bilateral. I'm going to continue entering data by putting in the background and purpose of the test. And when I do that, I'm also going to include some references. So when we add a reference, we're going to put the author last name and the publication year. In the background section, we're going to include things such as history or supporting information for the test, include the setup of any equipment or procedures for the test, and note any anatomy or rationale associated with the test. For the description section, which is just below here, we're going to want to include details that make the test easily reproducible and address any issues that it might arise with testing. So we're going to include the subject positioning and clinician positioning. We're going to include movements by the subject and the clinician. I want you to note any relevant measurements or goals. We're going to note indications for passing or failing qualities of the test and recommendations for various results of the test. So are there additional tests that need to be performed or referral indications? The next section of the test we add is the dialogue. This is a very brief description of the test to act as a reminder or for the narrative. The criteria section may be a little different than some classic medical descriptions of criteria. For Exam Xoom, the criteria lists the specific objectives needed to be achieved in order to have a passing test. In this example, the criteria for passing a test include full strength and pain-free range of motion. If both these criteria are not met, the test would be considered a fail. Some tests might also require the procedure to be pain-free. When using Exam Xoom, it is possible to document pain separate from the pass-fail grade of a test. If you are creating a test which will evaluate multiple regions, each region should have a specific criteria to be met. In the measurement section, we include the generally acceptable measurement for the test. In this example, we are using a standard grading scale of 5. Include references for these values in the background purpose section. It is also possible to leave this section blank if it does not apply. Since there are no units associated with this measurement, I will leave this section blank. If we were to use a force measurement, it could be in pounds per square inch or newtons. Next, we're going to add an image to our form. Please make sure you have permission to use the picture you are uploading, both from the subject and on the image, as well as any copyright requirements. If you took the picture and there is no patient confidentiality being breached, you should be free to share the image. Once that file is selected, you can also add a link to a video. To include the video, just type the web address in of the video. It can be a video you recorded, and uploaded to a hosting site, or it can be a video you find online at sites such as YouTube or Vimeo. Once we have all the necessary information on the form, we can hit Submit. If everything went as expected, we should be brought to the View Test page and we can see our test. You can see your name in the upper left-hand corner, so everybody can see your contribution to medical knowledge. But our work is not done yet, though. We need to add in our references. Okay. In this case, we've got books and journal articles that we're going to cite. So to add the references, we're going to click on this Add Reference tab. Okay. Now, one of the neat features that we've got here is I've tried to save you a little bit of time so we can minimize the effort we need to put into doing this. So we're going to add a book first. So one of the books that I used for this test, as well as others, is the Daniels and Worthingham's Muscle Testing 6th edition book. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a book, and we're going to add in the ISBN number. And in this case, you can see that I've added it in before, so I'm just going to click on that. But you put the ISBN number in here, you click the Get Info button, and it should bring up what we need for the other data. So we can see it was published in 1995, so we're going to add that in here. And then the pages that I referenced in this particular book are going to be page 232 to 234. Okay, I hit Save. Okay, it says the citation was added. I'm going to refresh the page. Oops. And let's see if we have a reference now. So there we can see that it's added our reference in for this book. I'm going to add the additional references now, one of which was the Harrop publication. And in this case, we're going to add the DOI number. So we're going to select that it's a journal. Okay. And now I'm going to type in the DOI number. Once I have the DOI number in there, I'm going to click Get Info, and it should populate the additional boxes with the information I need. And I click Save. Okay, I'm going to go back up here, reload the page, and there we see our new reference to that. It auto-populates a link, so I can go right to the publisher's page, or we can do a Sci-Hub search for that document as well. At this time, I don't have any additional references to add, but I can come back at some point and add references. Now you are essentially done. People can do a text search to find your test. To completely finish and fully integrate your information into the Exam Xoom database, you will need to add a Q value. I'll give a brief description here, but it's important to see the full explanation of Q values in a separate tutorial video. So to add a Q value, we're going to go down here to where it says Add Q Value. Okay. And from here, we're testing the foot. So we're going to select the region that we need to have evaluated. So that's going to be the foot. Now, we'll hit Save, and that'll bring us to another screen. This screen lists the different systems within that region. So one of the systems we're going to test with this is muscle action, and it's going to be extension of the foot, or in this case the toe. Alright, we're also going to assess the nerve. So what these are saying is that in order for this test to pass, I need all these systems to be functioning normally. And if one of these systems is not functioning, then the test will be a failure. Now, I don't know specifically which system is not working. It could be one not working or both not working, but it's just an indication that I need to go back and maybe specify individual systems where I can. So in this case, we said we're looking at the spinal nerve, and it's going to be an efferent spinal nerve, and the branch that it's coming off of is going to be the L5 nerve root. Okay. I believe you could also consider including the joint as part of a problem, but we may not say if there's joint stability or joint mobility. Just we may need to evaluate if there's a joint problem if this test is not successful. Once I've got everything selected, I can add in a note here if I'd like, and I can hit save. Once I do that, it should bring us back to the page. We'll look down to the bottom of the page, and now we see our new Q value added here. So with this, we can now perform a region-specific or system-specific search to bring up this test. So once you've added the test and the references and the Q value, this test is now fully integrated into the Exam Xoom system. And people can search for the test, they can search for the regions and systems that this test covers, and they can also add this test to their own individual exams. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section of the YouTube page, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot.